evening. Welcome to the Danvers Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one case tonight. There's an agenda up here if you'd like a copy of the agenda. I'm going to ask everybody to silence their cell phones, please. And did you get an agenda? Is there one?
You're the only case anyway.
You're the only case. We're waiting for you. We have minutes from the last meeting. Can I have a motion to
So
accept?
moved, Madam Chairman.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. I introduce the members of the board tonight. To my right, Bob Signetti, John Bowner. To my immediate right, Ken Scholes, our clerk tonight. I'm Becky Kilborn, Jeff Sauer, Ken Jervinen, and Corinne Doherty. And from Code Administration, we have our secretary, Kathy Archambaugh, and our building inspector, Rich Maloney. The procedure for tonight's meeting will be, the clerk will read the notice of the hearing. We'll ask the applicant to come up to the front and give us information about what you're requesting. As soon as we read the case.
Not yet.
And then we'll go to the board for questions of the applicant, and we'll go to the audience for any comments, and then our questions, and then we'll come back to the board for comments, and then I'll tell you what your options are in terms of moving forward. Okay, so we'll go ahead and read the first case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mexicali Grill, Oriale Lepe Maldonado, docket number 19-4837, requesting a variance to allow 4 mariachis, 76 to 80 inches tall, 30 to 45 inches wide. They will stand 25 inches apart, taking about 7 feet, in accordance with Section 37, sign bylaw of the Danvers zoning bylaws at 29 Andover Street.
Okay, so if you would come up here, please, and tell us what you'd like to do.
Hi, everyone.
It's okay, they can hear you if you just
Okay.
stand and talk, yeah.
My name is Aurelia Lete Maldonado. I'm the assistant manager in Mexicali Grill, and we put an application to, if it's possible, to take the mariachi statue outside of the building. We got it before, but we didn't know what's the process to do.
That it's a sign. You didn't know it was a sign.
Yes, we
Okay.
didn't know that, sorry.
So they were out there, and then they were removed in
Yeah.
March. The building
Right, we
inspector
know
asked
that,
you to
yeah.
remove them, okay? And now you want to put them back out there,
Yes,
okay?
if it's possible.
All right, so just describe, we had the notice of the hearing, but can you describe the mariachis?
Yes, it's iron metal statues.
Okay,
And it's the size
Yeah, I know what
20, 76 to 80 inches,
okay.
tall.
They're 7 feet tall?
It's like a,
Yeah,
a
There,
little,
picture.
okay.
a little bit
yeah.
more. We try to put it's not covered the people can walk and it's no,
Not in the way.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, I can explain this.
Anything else?
That's it.
No? All right, we'll go to questions. Bob?
Why do you need these?
That's a symbol for Mexico. That's what we buy.
No, but I mean, what's the purpose of it? Is to draw in customers, just to show that you're a Mexican restaurant? I mean, what?
Yes, the people, because we got before, the people is asking a lot, what you taken out, but we know what's the sign, and we need to do the process, so
Okay.
Well, do you hope to bring in more customers with this?
maybe,
Maybe.
I hope so.
Well, because we know it's a Mexican restaurant because it
Yeah.
says so on the sign.
Yes.
How's business been so far?
Right now it's really good. It's the summer was a little slow, but I think
It's starting to pick up
yes, it's doing
without
really-
these?
Yeah.
You're doing business without
Yeah,
these?
was
So-
better with the mariachis.
You think? All right. I'll listen to the other questions. I would, if I voted for this, would put a condition on that these, and we'll call them figurines or whatever, go only with this applicant. I don't know if the rest of you go along with that, but if we decide to okay it, so that the next restaurant that comes in doesn't put any teddy bears or whatever up front.
Okay.
But that's only my opinion. I have no more questions.
Teddy bears.
John?
Well, good.
Or
You allow
Italian.
4 figurines.
Can you tell me how they're attached to the ground?
They put with the strong,
Give expansion bolts in the concrete.
So they're bolted down? Okay. And you said they're made of steel or iron?
yes,
Do we know? Steel?
it's
Yeah.
iron.
So they're bolted down to the ground, and they're not on the sidewalk, they're actually on the crushed stone?
No,
And at least in this picture? And
yes.
of course, they're not there right now. And these would be here year-round?
Only for 3 months, and we put inside in the restaurant right now.
No, but I mean, you're looking to have them be outside
Yes,
year-round?
Yes,
So they're not gonna come in and out, they're always gonna be there if we grant this?
yes,
Okay, I have no further questions.
So the figures will only stay like that, correct? Like, say, not on Cinco de Mayo, we're gonna hang balloons off them and
No,
flags?
no, that's it.
They'll stay like this, no matter what? I have no further questions. Thank you.
I have no questions, Madam Chairman, thank you.
So those are the same 4 statues that are inside the building right now? Okay. Yeah, I've seen them, so, all right, that's all I got.
I don't have any questions.
So you still have these, and
Yes, we put inside for right now.
you put them inside? You don't think that's good enough to have them inside?
No, because it's really big.
They're big for
little-
inside.
It's a bit to be inside.
Okay, all right. Okay, anything else from the board? All right, any questions or comments from the audience? Mr. Duggan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Duggan, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. These statues, they're considered to be signs?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then I think there's a sign bylaw that restricts signage to a certain square footage,
Right, they're here for a variance because they're gonna be above that.
so they'll exceed it? And that's something that,
These statues were out there,
yeah, I saw a picture of them.
yeah, and then they were removed at the request of the building inspector, and now they want to put them back out there.
And how often does the board issue variances for square footage of signs? Is that a common practice?
A lot,
Yeah. On 114.
almost every meeting.
So
On
what's the
114
point of
especially.
having a limitation for square footage then? If we're just going to ignore it?
I'm going to the building inspector on this. Go ahead.
Well, that's a good question.
That's all right. I
No.
think I know the answer. Thank you.
That's a good question. People come in, they change their motifs. This particular property has multiple sign variances on it already. So,
Can I comment to that?
Sure.
It's just like if you had an EFLA that was over square footage. It happens.
Or building too close to the lot line, or, those are all
That's
things.
why we're here.
That's why we're the Board of
Yeah,
Appeals.
but this is Matthew Duggan again. So it's the voters of Danvers have determined what the limitation is through their duly elected representatives at town meeting. So I think it behooves us to honor that decision that town meeting has, they've set those limitations because that's what they want it to be. So, you know, granted, you have the ability to override that, but that goes against the democratic process.
Well, there's a zoning bylaws, and the people, you know that people come here because they are gonna be doing things that are different than are allowed by the zoning bylaws, and that's why they have to come to the zoning board. Otherwise, the zoning board wouldn't even need to exist if
Well,
we
there
only
we
had
go. That's
had a book, right?
Something to think about.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Thank you.
So, that's the way that is. But we appreciate your comments, and are you not in favor? You just questioned, okay. Hello?
Mr. Bradstreet.
Mr. Bradstreet.
Bill Bradstreet, town meeting member, precinct 1 also. I'm not anti-business. I've seen a picture of what they look like. I've heard the discussion time and time again that you as a board would like to see the signs that were allowed in the past either eliminated or downsized. As them being signs, even though the figurines, I think this goes a little beyond what it should be. I know you can't tell somebody to take down your massive sign now because it's not what we want 114 to be, because it was approved years ago. That's why a lot of people are smart enough not to take the sign down and come in and ask to put it back
You're
up.
talking about other properties on
Other
114 where
properties
we've
on
had to
114.
grandfather, yeah.
Yes, and again, I'm not anti-business. I think looking at the figurines, I don't think they're appropriate for 114. It kind of, I don't know the word I want to use. It's a little gaudy, perhaps. We all know what a Mexican
But we know what
restaurant.
114 looks like, right?
And we'd like to improve it and change it and put it
Okay.
into something more acceptable to the majority of the people in town. It's not
Okay.
what, were they to be asked today, they wouldn't like what 114 has turned into.
Okay.
I mean, I remember when it was a dirt road, so there's been
Okay.
a lot of changes over the years.
All right, well,
Again, it's,
have the board can comment on your comments, so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so, Bob, you want to go back? And you can see-
I can remember, there's the other fourth restaurant that's been in this location, which was never built to be a restaurant, by the way. This was built to house an oil company.
It was an industrial building.
So,
Oil.
I can remember granting signs for this place, a fire pit
Yep.
for this place.
Remember that?
Outside
I don't-
patio,
Outside, I don't know,
yeah.
the businesses don't seem to stay there. Now, you think this is going to keep you there, good luck. I will vote for this on the condition that it be for this applicant only, that these statues, if another restaurant goes in there, that's it, they're gone. They can't put up other statues or whatever.
Without coming back to this board,
Yeah?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think I'd echo what Bob says. I want to see a business succeed there. We've seen a lot of turnover there. I'm glad that they're doing well. If they think this is going to help, I'm not sure it does. I tend to think
Excuse me?
You can't condition the variance on the tenant.
we cannot.
The variance
Variance runs with the property.
Oh, then
Oh,
I got a problem with this.
okay. So you're a no.
I will not vote for this, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think based on that, I wouldn't either, because I do feel like it says Mexican Grill. I don't know, I guess the statues to me make it look a little bit honky-tonk, so I'm not sure it's necessary, so I don't think I'd vote for it. I would if we could condition it, but since we can't.
Okay.
I feel like the building is back from the road itself anyways. It's not like it's right on the road, and if you're driving by, you would see these figurines and say, oh, hey, this is Mexican. So I wouldn't vote for this.
Okay.
I had the same thought as Ken. The building is back from the road, and I think because of that, I would vote for this, because I don't think having the mariachis there is more detrimental than what presently exists. I think you're only going to see these things when you pull into the restaurant, so I would be in favor of this.
Okay.
I too would be in favor of this if there was some condition to anchor them properly, just in case, because kids may be wanting to like hang on them or push them, and if one of them fell,
Rich said they're bolted. to the
they're
ground.
bolted down? Okay. Then, yeah, I think it adds a little style to 114. It's not quite the dinosaur on Route 1, but it's a little something. Yeah.
That's a historical monument now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And this could be too. Give it some time. No, I just kidding. But yeah, I would vote for that.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a question, and I think, Rich, maybe you can answer it. I'm looking at the history of the variance request. How many of the signs that are on this are still on the building?
Well, they're using the square footage, so in fact, the RTN Credit Union on the other corner got a sign variance fairly recently. The British Beer Works got, because again, each tenant would get one sign. So the British Beer Works came in and got the Union Jack, they got, so there's actually, I think, 3 signs on the front and 1 sign on the side for this particular business. Because of the square footage granted to a previous tenant.
Right, I remember the
No,
Union
I
Jack.
see these,
thing,
but that's what I wasn't sure if both of them were.
Oh, yeah.
So to play off of your question to Rich, if I
Yes.
can.
Go ahead.
So these signs that are just for the Mexican grill now, do they exceed their 10%?
Correct, they use the square footage granted to the property
Right,
When it was Beer Works.
on the British Beer Works.
right.
I think Nick and Tony's had a sign variance, if I'm not mistaken, then British Beer Works came in and wanted the Union Jack,
Right,
and they wanted the sign on the side. So that's why I'm saying that you can condition a special permit on a tenancy, but you cannot condition a variance. That's why there's so much signage on this building, because the board has granted it,
Well,
granted it,
can
granted it.
help with that, yeah.
so
Because
They
there
have a
are,
lot of- They have a lot of signage that most people don't get, so.
okay. All right,
Well, I think based on the fact that there are so many signs and the fact that this runs with the property, so the next person comes in can put up some other figurines and we wouldn't be able to say no.
right,
So I'm going to say no.
okay. And I echo your comments, because then what are we gonna have there? Some Italian guys and then some bears, and
The
it's
bears.
gonna be
Yeah.
like FAO Schwartz and,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's my fear. I mean, I don't think these are objectionable, but the next guy that comes in,
Yeah.
who knows what'll go there?
Okay,
Well, can I make a comment?
yeah,
So if the figurines change, or the statues, whatever you want to call them, and then the square footage changes, don't they need a variance for that? So then we
They
could
would if
yay
they-
or nay at
as
that
long
point.
as they're
As long
within
as
this
they-
As long
size.
as they
exceed.
keep the dimensions.
I think these figurines, if you take them, they may exceed, what's it, 100
So you
square feet?
draw
I
a
mean,
rectangle around the perimeter of the figurines, and that would be the sign area. So you're granting a sign of
Pretty big
the
area.
outside
Okay.
dimensions of it.
So as long as they keep it within that, then.
So they,
All right.
like,
All right.
if you took this whole thing, that's a whole new sign.
Yeah.
That whole
Right.
size.
And they can change the figurines.
They'd at least have to keep them within that
Yeah,
template.
but it's a big area.
But that's a
But that's
pretty
like
big
40
sign.
something
That would be
square
a
feet.
Yeah,
huge
that's a
sign.
huge sign,
right?
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to you, now that we've had this discussion, and tell you that you don't have the votes that would be necessary from the board to get approval to do this. So you can withdraw your application, you can continue it and come back, but there's really no reason to come back because the board is saying no. The problem is, and I don't know if you understood all the conversation, but the problem is that we're not just approving it for you. We would be willing to just approve it for you, but the way that the bylaws are written, it's a variance, and we would be approving it for any other store, business, anybody, restaurant that comes in after you. So it's not just for you, and we're not willing to approve it forever. And that's what we would have to do. So My suggestion would be that you withdraw your application, because if you ever wanted to come back and get some other kind of sign, you couldn't come back for 2 years if we deny your application.
If we vote and say no.
If we vote and say no. But if
Officially.
you withdraw and you wanted to modify something else that we were willing to approve within the next 2 years, you could come back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have a question. When we received the restaurant, the British Beard has two lions and two big, another, I don't know what, but we tried to say if we change the four statues for the lions and the other, but we need to do the
We
process.
probably didn't have approval for the lions either. Do you know which?
Yeah, I've never been to the British Bear Works, so,
Was it out on the patio area?
No, it wasn't the same place.
It was out in front.
You know,
They were like two, and they were on like a column, right? And they were out in front.
We never
didn't approve
that.
those.
We approved the fire pit, that was all I remember.
And I remember the patio, we were worried that a car might come off of 114 and go into the patio, and they built a wall so that the people would be safe. We had a lot of discussion about that too, but I don't remember any lions. Do you remember, Bob? No.
We never approved it.
never
If there
approved
was lions, nobody ever asked for it.
I
that
remember the discussion around the wall, but I would point out to the,
they could have brought them in, we never permitted anything, and
Yeah.
I think Dave handled that build-out, and I never went to the restaurant, so.
Okay.
I never seen
I
it.
think I'd
Do you
point out,
remember that, though, about the wall and everything?
I remember
Yeah.
the variance, I remember all the sign variances for that property.
Yeah, because that was, British Beer Works are the ones that built the patio in the front.
and Madam Chair, I think I'd point out to the applicant too, so this building, just to be clear, already has more allowable signage than a typical building would get because of past variances. So you already have more signage
Yeah,
at
but
this
she's a
site.
tenant, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not really in her control, all the signs that
No,
are
no,
on that building.
but I'm just saying, so if we grant you this, we're granting you even more signage on top of
Yeah.
the fact that you already have over an allotted amount.
So what would you like to do?
No,
You want to withdraw your application?
yes.
Okay.
Madam,
Go ahead.
okay. Madam Chair, I move that the board allow the applicant to withdraw their application without prejudice.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Sorry, good luck. All right.
what is it we can condition? We can condition this.
Special permits.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Danvers.